It's not about that. Donald Trump has done a bunch of stuff, and some people have said that the stuff that he's done has wrecked the economy. You cannot have improvement if you don't make change, and if it's just because that's the way it's always been doesn't mean that's the way it needs to stay. And if it wasn't working, just because you enjoy the fact that it ain't working, but it ain't working in your favor, doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be fixed. If you can ride on a flat tire for 2 years, it doesn't mean that the tire don't need to be changed. Oh, he said nipple. He don't call it Nepal, he calls it nipple. Oh man, Trump be doing some stuff. What can I say to get people riled up? He gonna be one of those people. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. Um, we have a pretty decent lineup here, so we should be able to run this for almost an hour, maybe an hour and 25, 30 minutes, something to that effect. We're gonna see what we're gonna go on because it depends on how much I got to say. To the I think we got about 9 or 10 comments that we're gonna be going through, plus all the comments from the comment sections. We're gonna see what's going on today, and hopefully we're gonna knock this out of the park.
I like a guy with a daughter my age. At 19, started working at a gas plant. I was nervous because I never worked with that many men, but thank God I had a overall good experience. I was working with scaffold guys, then I got changed to other where the foreman I'm going to call M. M is such a cool guy, like young soul, chill as hell, and the most thing I like about him was the way he treated me. I'm pretty short and look young, people treat me like I'm the stupidest MF all the time, I'm used to it, but he was different, he treated like I was capable and teached me many thing that I end up in a better paying position. We went out to eat a couple times, and even gamble one day, nothing ever felt like inappropriate or like weird, I think he just chill like that. The problem is that I have the fattest crush on this guy, I'm a bit obsessed, I'm pretty sure part of why I like him so much is because of my daddy issues, so I'm trying to be logical and like lock in. Some
Right.
girls noticed and they think I already slept with him, like, I'm a whole virgin, but whatever. Still, how the fuck do I get over him or prevent this from happening again? Like, I genuinely feel disgusted by myself, I always feel weird about big ass age gaps, but now I'm fucking in this situation, gross.
Okay, so she twirling. Now, let's kind of cover this real quick. So you went worked with a business full of men. Wait, let's touch back real quick. He talked about Vicanda, our social reform. He called it Vicanda. He be mispronouncing stuff on purpose sometimes. But this girl, let's go back to this girl real quick. She said that she jumped onto this oil thing and never worked with that many dudes before, so she's making it seem like, she was like the only female there. I mean, probably, but they don't give a shit. They out there for their 125, $130,000 a season kind of paycheck. They don't give a damn about you. It's all about their money. However, fact is, while everybody else didn't have value for you, you found that this dude appreciated your skill set and your ability to learn. Because while nobody likes the new folks, it ain't got nothing to do with you being a girl. They just didn't like the fact that you was new because new people don't know stuff, and new people who don't know stuff in a job like that could cause big catastrophes that everybody else got to fix. That somebody could get hurt. So nobody likes a newbie. That's usually what they say. So having this guy take you under his wing as an apprentice, you develop an admiration for him, and just because you developed an admiration for him, you feel uncomfortable about the fact that you actually are attracted to this guy. There is nothing wrong with a 19-year-old that is attracted to somebody that is 15 or 20 years older than her, because we typically as men find ourselves attracted to the more responsible and less combative version of women, which is going to be 50% of our age plus seven. So a man in his 50s is probably going to find a 25 or 32-year-old. A man in his 40s is probably going to find a 27-year-old. So, a man that's 35, 40 years old looking at a 19-year-old, that's not a negative thing for the man. The feminist model is going to shun that, especially the middle-aged women that already hating men to begin with are going to shun that because that disqualifies those women from being candidates because women that are over the age of 40, all they had was looks and reproduction because their attitude was poor. Not the good women were married, but the bad ones were not. And those are the ones that are bitter, and then they're mad at the men because the men want a woman that'll cooperate, and the women that are over the age of 35 don't want to cooperate. And that makes men who are still looking for companions, wives, mothers of their children, to look at younger women. It's not just about the beauty. Sometimes it's the personality as well. You know, women don't like that because it disqualifies them, excludes them completely. Because now we can't just accept you for the volatility that you are. We actually can trade up for a better model, not because it's just younger, but because it is more cooperative with our agenda. Everybody doesn't have a Honda Civic, and everybody doesn't have a Bentley, but whichever one benefits your ability to do what you're trying to do every day, that's the one that you stick with. Whether it's brand new, whether it's new to you, whether it's inherited from your great grandmother and it's been in the family for generations and it still works, you take what you get and you do the best you can with it. Now, those women that have not been raised on the feminist model, that are looking for a person to have to take care of them, and she's willing to cooperate. Again, those women 18 years of age can find themselves attracted to, or at least dating, even if they're not attracted to him, if they're attracted to his money, dating a guy that's as high as 60 and 78 years old. So if he was in his 40s and you're 19, not that bad because you could have been 19 and he could have been 65. He could have been older than your grandfather and you could have been dating him. So I don't really see why the fact that you just had a crush on the guy, because we truthfully can fall in love 150 times in our life, right? And that's averaging like three people a year, um, considering. Now, that's not limited to age groups. It might be somebody really young in comparison to your current age. It might be somebody really old in comparison to your current age. And that's something that women have to come to understand. So a guy can fall in love with a guy in his 40s can fall in love with a woman that's in her 60s. A guy in his 40s can fall in love with a woman that's in her 20s. It is not appropriate for a guy that's in his 30s to be attracted to a girl that's under the age of 18, even if the girl is under the age of 18 and attracted to him. It's not appropriate, and against the law in many countries around around the world. Uh, Even China raised their age from 13 to 16. That's like the lowest in most countries, but it's still socially unacceptable here in the States. So when you think about the the carnage of the feminist model, where you feel like, oh, it's gross, it's gross, it's gross, but once you find yourself in a relationship with somebody that treats you right, the way that you want it to be treated, and you're respecting them the way they want to be respected, your age stops mattering. Your age stops being a discussion, and that's something that we don't pay attention to. We don't pay attention to it until we into it. So while you're like, ew, gross, because that's what you're supposed to say, fact is that if you enjoy his company, just enjoy his company. If it turns into something, it turns into something. If it don't, then it don't. But don't let what other people think about you spending time with this guy uh off the job got anything to do with them. Don't let that negatively impact your ability to be happy, because if he the only person that appreciates you on the job, that might be your best friend, a best platonic friend. Just because y'all have the kind of father daughter bond that makes it look like y'all been dating for a while, they jealous that he don't like them. Because think about the fact that you said you felt like you was the only girl up there for a minute. Then the other girls that is around the area see y'all together and they over here wisecracking. That's because they jealous. They jealous that he didn't want to go hang out with them. That's on them. They should have behaved better. But if you got you a keeper, he could be your mentor, and mentors have a different platonic relationship than a romantic one. And that mentor can show you how to live life, how to enjoy your free time off the job so that you are functional to go back to the job and not wasteful with your money. And y'all can have a long time relationship, but you got to not be so superficial and judgmental. All right, let's move into the next one.
She broke up with me because I'm boring. We are both 28 years old. I am a guy who likes to plan ahead in life. About career, life choices, relationship, everything. Career-wise, I'm doing good. Stable, surviving, saving up. I'm not a fan of buying material things, but I do like to invest in stocks, crypto, trying trading, you get the idea. I don't usually spend money on things, but when I do, I have planned it for weeks. I treated her like I wanted myself to be treated. Didn't cheat, no vices, no addictions, nothing. Maybe the one problem I can see is sometimes I work late. Sometimes I can't hang out with her because of work. Maybe once or twice a week, sometimes none actually. After 10 years of building myself and the relationship, she suddenly grew cold. She said she doesn't love me anymore. Not the way you think. She said that she don't feel anything towards me anymore. No spark. Unlike the early stages, she has a big crush on me, talks to me constantly, make efforts on anniversaries, etc. But now she's not the same because she said that the fire is gone. She described me as the ideal guy, a walking green flag. But she said she wants me to be more spontaneous, more assertive, more impulsive, more in charge. On my side, I was saving up for our life in the future, didn't want her to feel chained, constricted with our relationship. I let her do the things she wanted. As long as she is happy. She waited for 10 years for me to step up. Step up like propose, take risks, buy houses, have children, etc. But I'm stepping up the way she finds boring. She wanted me to be with her in the end, but she said it's unfair for me to be in a relationship where I don't get anything in return. I think she wanted me because I'm good for her, but not the one she's excited for anymore. She wanted to bring her old feeling back towards me, but when she forces herself to do that, the more the feelings fade. So she let me go. I understand her reason. The problem is I still wanted her to be the one. Is the fire going out part of a long relationship, or is it because of my boringness?
It's because of a long relationship. It's not because you aren't boring. You're not spontaneous either. Um, so the problem with spontaneity in a relationship, it requires for a reasonable level of secrets. Reason being is because if you know what I am going to do when I am going to do it all the time, there's no room for me to surprise you with anything because the surprise is that you didn't know that I was doing this behind your back in your favor. That's the issue. So, in order for, like, for example, she said that she wanted you to take charge, she wanted you to step up. So, instead of you letting her be a free spirit, she wanted you to tell her to sit her ass down and stop. They don't always say what they want. She might have wanted you to put her in her place. She might have wanted you to uh, randomly waste a bunch of money on something exuberant. That's not what she needs in life. She needs somebody that's financially stable, not wasteful. She don't need somebody that's gonna dive into buying a house that she can't afford, that you can't afford, so that y'all gonna break up because y'all have money problems, and then you're gonna be in the same situation that you're in right now, except you're gonna be paying for a house that you can't afford. The fact is sometimes people aren't ready for the right thing. Sometimes people would prefer to chase that excitement in life. And the younger they are, the more likely they're going to chase that excitement in their life. I thought when you said that you was born that you was going to say that you prefer not to go out and you prefer not to do things. No, you do stuff. You plan ahead. You plan ahead, you budget it, you make sure that there's enough money for it. You cover all of the potential what ifs that you could think of along the way, and y'all go and have a normal, vanilla, bland existence. Yeah, you could do something, you could shake things up a little bit, but let's be real. There's a strong possibility her attachment to somebody else could be changing her mentality of you. Her social media uh, observations could be triggering her desire to feel like she deserves to have more or that she's missing out on something. It's not about what you're doing in the relationship. It's about what she's not getting out of the relationship that she currently isn't putting into the relationship either. And that's something that isn't being talked about. Now, y'all could come together. Y'all could have, because it's already over. Y'all could have come together and discussed more often about the things and the ways that y'all can make the life that she's looking for a little bit more satisfactory for her. You could have put down a few demands for yourself. She could be more spontaneous. If you're working all the time, and the reason why you're working all the time is so that she does not have a responsibility in a relationship. Notice, I'm just gonna come straight out and say it, ladies. Y'all gonna hate me for saying it, but I'm just gonna come straight out and say it. If y'all don't have investment in the relationship, y'all ain't got no reason to stay. That's the whole thing. If y'all do not have investments in the relationship, y'all got no reason to stay. So when guys say, hey, the women should be paying more for the dates and more for the engagements and more for the marriage and put more into the relationship, it's not because we give a shit about your money. It's not because we broke. It's not because we're using you for what you got. It's because if you got something in this, you got something worth losing. Your feelings is not all there is to this relationship because your feelings is very fickle. She switched out. And because she's got nothing invested in this relationship besides her feelings, when her feelings left the relationship, she was gone. But see, if the house was hers, the kids was hers, the dog, two cars, especially if it's her favorite car, she gonna be sitting here trying to figure this out because I don't want to have to sell the car, my favorite car. I don't want to have to sell my house. I don't want to have to go through breaking up the kids' home and splitting the dog and all this other stuff. I don't want to lose what I have put effort into building. So I want to see if I can fix this. But see, when you ain't got nothing invested in it, it's like I'm tired. I'm bored. Remember when y'all used to those of y'all that used to go to high school, public school, not private school? Y'all was forced to go to school because y'all parents told y'all to take your ass to school. Especially those of you that went to school just for the free lunch. Y'all didn't want to be there. Y'all had no reason to be there besides y'all were told that y'all had to go. You couldn't wait to get up out of there. You hated being there. You had no investment in that. Now, think about the same y'all that came out of public school and went to college. Now, when you're going to college, somebody's paying for your tuition. This is a choice. You're not being forced to go. You want to be there. You putting all the effort into getting a good grades. You going to your teacher's office hours to figure out what all I can do to bring my grade up. You want to keep that 4.0 GPA or that 3.5 GPA. You're paying for tutors. You're doing all of these extra things so that you can get that degree, so that you can go and get that better job because you're invested in it. You're going to do more to succeed. When those exact same folks that was in high school and middle school getting into fights and dropping out of school and all because y'all wasn't investing into it. When you got a job that you're invested into, you show up every day, you come to work early, you stay late, you cover extra shifts. When you're in a relationship that you're invested in, you do more for the relationship to try to make it work. So you was in a relationship, sir, with a woman that was not invested in the relationship. Yeah, y'all had 10 years. But the spark is gonna fade in a 10-year relationship. Y'all gonna get bored with each other in a 10-year relationship. And when y'all start getting bored with one another, y'all need to start talking about what can we do that isn't unnecessarily financially wasteful, that can bring a little bit more entertainment into this life. Because I can tell you, I work every day. I take one day off a week. If I'm in a relationship, I have to prioritize my relationship outside of my career. But just like the man said, he was building the type of career or type of standard of living so that later in life they could do most stuff. If she contributed to that scenario, that later in life, I showed you guys before that if y'all look at it like this: if you putting away $2,000 to $4,000 a month, and that's a lot of money. That's a whole salary for some folks. But if there's two of y'all working, both of y'all making over 50,000 a year, y'all both living under a 50,000, $55,000 a year lifestyle, and you're able to put that $2,000 to $4,000 away every month, you would be putting away almost $20,000 to $40,000 a year every year. And if you're moving that money away, moving that money around in stock options all the time, you will find yourself turning 20,000 into 40,000, 40,000 into 80,000. You'll be turning 100,000 into 200,000, half a million into a million. You will find yourself inside of 10 to 15 years building a millionaire lifestyle. Now, along the way, you can slow down on your grind because if you're making enough money where the stock options is paying you more money than your standard of living, you don't have to quit your job, but you could dial it back. And instead of doing overtime all the time, you could stop it at 35 hours a week so that you have more free time to spend time with your partner. You could switch it up. And instead of working two jobs, you can just work one job so that you got more time for your family and your friends. But you're building your making your later greater, you're building your success by putting forth so much effort into your success, their success. If they help you with that, y'all got something where if you did that for 10 to 15 years, and he said he been doing it for 10 years, if you did that for 10 to 15 years and y'all finally made it to that $500,000 or that $1 million where y'all making more money off of that than what y'all needed to live off of, where you start bringing in 70, 80,000 a year, and y'all was living a $55,000 a year lifestyle, y'all could upgrade y'all lifestyle to 70,000 a year, still got 20,000 a year extra, have brand new cars, everything's paid for, and still have 20 grand a year to go on vacations with. And now y'all can both quit y'all jobs and y'all can live life together on the back 20 that y'all wasn't able to do on the first 15. And in that 35-year marriage, she can tell her kids and her grandkids, yeah, it was hard at first, but it was worth it. But she ain't investing in a relationship. She not putting up money to buy the house where y'all own the house inside of 3 years. She not putting up enough money to buy the cars where y'all own the cars inside of 2 years. She just enjoying life. And that's one of the reasons why she walked out. So I'm gonna tell you, bro, yeah, you might have wished that she was the last one, but you could have ended up with somebody better. Now, what's gonna end up happening in life is that you're gonna keep growing, you're gonna keep working on your grind. And what's going to happen is the next person that you find because you're closer to the finish line, that person might stay. It is what it is. Women who are looking for financial stability look for the finished product, so they don't always stick with the guy that is on the uprise. Once a guy gets there, they'll enjoy the finish line. But to get to the finish line, not very many women are willing to help a man get there. Most women feel like, oh, he grown. I ain't trying to be no mom to no grown man. He should have his stuff together. But she should have her stuff together too. She should the Fortune 500 man that she looking for, she should be that same Fortune 500 woman. But that's not what we get. So we have to recognize that sometimes if it don't work, it don't work, bro. It's better for it to have not worked and she left than for it to still not be working and she's using you for what you got while she sleeping with another dude. Because a lot of times when the emotion is gone out of the relationship, it's not just because it's you. The emotion gone out of the relationship because she done found an emotional attachment with somebody else because you at work all the damn time. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
We are both 18 and my boyfriend is already pushing me away and I'm scared I ruin things. My boyfriend recently told me that he's been taking steps back from our relationship to look at it from a different perspective. He didn't say it was my fault, but when I heard that, I started reflecting and realized my own actions may have caused problems without me even realizing it. Since we first got together, I've changed. I can be controlling and I'm very conservative about relationships. For example, I don't like him talking to other girls, and that's not something he's used to. He cheated on his ex, and that has a role to play in my decision about that. I know this has probably made things harder on him, and now I feel like he's getting tired of it and pulling away. I know he loves and cares about me, but I'm scared I've pushed him too far and he won't want to stay with me. I don't know how to fix things or if it's even possible. How do I talk to him about this in a way that shows I'm aware of my mistakes but also gives us a chance to rebuild? I love him more than anything and I am willing to change, but certain things just will never be comfortable to me. Has anyone been through something similar?
Yeah, I think we all have. Um, so just because he cheated with somebody else in the past doesn't mean that he gonna cheat with you. However, some people still say once a cheater is always a cheater. You have to recognize instead of just condemning him in your current relationship for cheating, find out from him what compelled him to cheat. That way you can navigate around that in your current relationship with him. If he cheated because he didn't feel seen, if he cheated because he didn't feel appreciated, if he cheated because there was a void in his relationship that he ended up finding with somebody else, then there was an underlining factor from the cheating. If his woman was controlling and manipulative and he found another woman that was not controlling, then when you look at your behavior, you think to yourself, well, shit, you're doing exactly what caused him to cheat in his last relationship. Now you have to ask yourself, if you really want to be in this relationship, how can you cooperate and compromise with your partner? Because he is doing something different in his relationship with you that he didn't do in the other relationship. He is telling you clearly, and y'all 18, y'all young. So for him to articulate this, he put a lot of thought into not fucking this relationship up. And he said that he needs to rethink this relationship because of your behavior. He didn't say it was because of your behavior. I'm saying it's because of your behavior. Because don't no man back off on a woman that he won't unless she doing something that she ain't supposed to be doing. So you said you feel like you should apologize, but you don't really want to reduce your position. Go apologize. You know you being controlling. You know that you're being overbearing. You know that you're setting unnecessary boundaries. You know that you are pushing him away. And since you know this, apologize for your behavior. Since you recognize where you have gone wrong, communicate with him what your concerns are. You're not necessarily asking him for forgiveness because who cares if he forgives you? What matters is, can you find a better way to exist with each other, communicate with each other, and work through it? Whatever's got him backing down, if he can articulate that, and then you can make changes in your behavior pattern so that he doesn't feel the way he feels anymore, at least not because of you, then you're moving in the right direction. But if you're not willing to change, your relationship will dissolve because resentment will build in your relationship. And while nobody talks about the resentment will force you to pull away because you don't want to be bothered with the other person. You're irritated with the other person. You're disgusted by the other person because of the unresolved resentment. Now, yeah, some stuff y'all not going to get past. It's going to always tinker like a blown head gasket. It's gonna always have that tap in there. But at the end of the day, the relationship will still run. The relationship will still run. You just have to maintenance it a little bit better. Communicate every week, every other week. Make sure that your partner is happy. Make sure that you're happy. Negotiate things. Plan stuff together. That's how you guys find ways to make sure that you're both included. Because otherwise, if one of you feels less involved or less appreciated or less addressed in the relationship, that's gonna be the person that's gonna walk. All right, let's see what the next one is.
Going out alone. Everyone flaked on me to go out on a birthday celebration, and I was wondering if it'd be weird if I go alone. I am a woman, but I'm very careful and aware of my surroundings, so it's not a safety concern, it's more I'll be alone, and I've seen all over TikTok other women saying that going alone is empowering and fun even though they were also nervous to go alone. So would it be weird if I go alone with a birthday girl sash?
No, you put on the birthday girl sash so that you can get some kind of attention because you're it's your birthday. Guys don't do that. Guys just go out and they might tell the bartender when they order their first drink that it is their birthday, and the bartender might give them the first one on the house, which makes it a little bit cheaper for them to buy three and then take their ass back home. But what are you really doing for your birthday? Uh, I've always said you wasting your time and your money when you are spending money and effort on trying to impress other people for your birthday. It's your birthday. If they aren't celebrating your birthday, then find something to occupy your time. You don't have to go out and get attention from other people. But I mean, as a female with a birthday sash, put on your little tiara, put on your prom dress from high school, take your ass out there. Birthday girl from happy hour until late night in the club, you will find that most guys that are attracted to you will buy you a free drink because it's your birthday. You'll end up on like 18 different bar tabs. You might get in the club for nothing. You'll have a whole and you can have fun by yourself with a bunch of strangers, make you some new friends. Try not to drink too much, get you a ride home and live your best life. But really, what should have been done is, like I said before, when it comes down to your birthday, turn your birthday into a business meeting. Find successful individuals and invite them to a business soiree. They will show up. It's your birthday. People will acknowledge your birthday because you're there. Even though it is at your expense, you will meet and get identification information from the individuals that are at that soiree. Then you will be able to write off your taxes on that meet and greet with those business execs, but you also have connects for future business meetings. That's what you do if you're gonna waste money. Trying to get your friends to show up and spend their hard-earned money on you when they actually value something other than you really know what kind of friends you got if they ain't throwing a surprise birthday party for your ass in the first place. You already know what kind of squad you got if they not throwing a birthday party for you in the first place. The one, even if they broke, they do not need to have nothing other than the dinner that was already gonna be on the table, some cups of water, and turn the music up on in the living room and surprise. That's it. They ain't got to do no pile of decorations. They ain't got to have 1,001 candles. They could just meet and eat a meal together and appreciate you that afternoon. It don't got to be all that extra stuff that people be doing for birthday parties. But like you said, you've seen on TikTok, oh, this girl went out and that girl went out and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to do the same thing. Fuck TikTok, what they got going on over there. What you need to be focusing on is your own success. Because if you had the type of network that valued your birthday and they knew when your birthday was, they should have popped up on you and had you the kind of birthday that you would never forget. Just think about that. So, Go out there on your birthday, do it alone. This is another thing. I'm gonna tag on this real quick before we move on to the next one. Dating. If you plan on going out on a date, make the plan as if you're not going with somebody. You can make room for a second person. You got your plus one option. But if you're going to a specific location, you're going to that location because you want to go to that location. You're gonna go whether your date shows up or not. If your date canceled, fuck them. You was going anyway. If you got a reservation, you're not missing out on the reservation. You was going anyway. Instead of begging somebody to fill the void in your life so that you can live your life, go live your life and give them the option to enjoy your life with you. Now, if they choose not to, fucking, you still going. If you was gonna go to Olive Garden for a dinner before you went on a cruise, you invite her to come spend the weekend with you. You're gonna go out to dinner. She don't want to go. That's fine. Later on, when she called, you're getting on the cruise ship. Why didn't you tell me that? Because it's part of my plans. You could have had dinner plans on the cruise ship. She ain't got to know about all that. If she wasn't going anyway, you don't have to bribe her with, oh, it all expenses paid, everything on me. Ti said you can have whatever you like. Come with me. Nah, fuck that shit. You are expecting absolutely nothing for this adventure, and then you will find out that there was so much more to this adventure. So you plan it like you going by yourself. If she want to go, she'll go. If she don't want to go, she don't go. But halfway through your adventure, when she check up on you and see how things is going, oh, I'm sorry, I canceled. You should be enjoying your life at that moment. Man, we still out here. So and so done did this, we done did that. We're in Costa Rica right now. Next time you ask her if she want to go somewhere, her ass is gonna go because all the stuff that happened from the first thing you mentioned, she not gonna want to miss out on. But your life should not be contingent to if somebody else wants to live that life with you. Your life should be about what you want to do with your life the way you want to do it. And if you find the right partner, they're gonna want to do it with you. And for the guy before this lady, if you're planning for the future, like if you're trying to leave a country, you want to spend 2 months in another country, but you want to do it responsibly where all your bills is paid and you don't got to worry about nothing when you come back. You're not trying to go out there and rush and do 1,000 things in 3 days and come back and be exhausted as fuck. You trying to go out there for a few weeks to a couple months so that you can hang out and like wander around and just kind of just see stuff. You understand? In that situation, you could be planning for that. That's something for y'all to look forward to. I didn't cover that on a bunch of shows. And when you do that, when it's time to go, she already know. Y'all gonna be gone for a while. Clear my schedule. But y'all gonna have a bunch of fun. He's gonna prioritize undivided attention to you the whole time y'all out there. So that whole relationship where he was spending all his time at work, now it's about to pay off. Y'all gotta recognize and realize that it ain't always about the other person. When you're in a relationship, it includes the other person. But when you single, it ain't always about the other person. It ain't always about your friend. It ain't always about your family members. Sometimes it's just about you. But you're not just a lone wolf for the sake of being a lone wolf. Sometimes you are out there the way you out there because you have yet to find the right path. Once you find the right pack, that's when you're going to be able to have a squad that's going to go with you and contribute to your success as well as contribute to your adventures. Now, until you get that far, you might want to run solo. But welcome to the life of being a man because, ladies, men fly solo like that all the time. We meet people along the way because our homeboys be at work. What can we do about that? All right, let's move on to the next one.
My dad, who's 50, didn't come to see me when I was 22 and dying. How can I forgive him? I was hospitalized on Saturday due to an infection that went ignored by doctors. I didn't realize how sick I was until my mom, who's 50, who I was supposed to have been seeing for lunch on Saturday, insisted that I needed to see a doctor and took me to the ER, where it turned out that I was septic. If she hadn't done that, in all likelihood I would be dead right now. My dad, 50M, is currently on a business trip and was informed by my mom of how bad my blood work looked the second I was taken in. He just texted me as said, "I'm sorry you're feeling so sick." At that point, I didn't realize how sick I was, because I think the nurses didn't want to tell me anything that would panic me more because I was already freaking out. I haven't ever been hospitalized before this, so I had just been crying since the moment I was admitted. But I was still hurt that he wasn't even calling. I told him I wished he was there, but he said he was just really busy with work. I kept getting worse. They decided I needed surgery, had to transfer me to a different hospital via ambulance, and started having to give me a lot of pain meds, and I was attached to an antibiotic drip for days. My dad called me for about 30 minutes on the second day I was there before I was admitted to surgery, but didn't say much other than he hoped it went well. Once I was out of surgery and stable, one of my nurses sat down and talked through everything with me, and that's when things sunk in how close I had been to dying. Obviously now I am okay, but I think even just realizing that I had a near-death experience after the fact is gonna fuck me up for a while. What
Mm.
really upset me is that my dad wasn't there. My mom told him I was septic and he didn't immediately tell his boss he needed to be on a flight. He stayed on his stupid business trip, and I could have died without having seen my dad for weeks. And frankly, I don't even think it should have mattered if I was fully septic. I'm his only daughter, and I was hospitalized and in the most pain I've ever been in my life, and all I wanted was a hug from my dad, and he wasn't there. I got discharged from the hospital, but I will be staying with my mom for about a week so she can help me recover because my body is wrecked. I can hardly stand for 5 minutes without feeling out of breath. I texted my dad last night that him not even attempting to be there, or even getting here after the surgery to comfort me, literally anything, really hurt, and that him doing that has broken some of the trust one had for him. He just said, "I didn't mean to hurt your feelings." It's like he really doesn't get how bad he fucked up. I don't know how I'm supposed to move on. I don't even want to talk to him. I love my dad so much and he's never let me down like this, but this is the worst possible thing he could have let me down on. I don't know what to do.
Um, but he didn't let you down. He did the same thing he been doing your whole damn life. Take his ass to work, go make the money to pay for your standard of living, bring the money back, let your mama take you to the hospital and deal with the stuff that's wrong with your health. See, the first thing that you said in this situation that um I don't think you really paid attention to. Nobody said that you was dying. Nobody told mom that you was dying. Mom didn't tell dad that you was dying. You were just really sick and at the hospital. Now, dad trying to make extra money for his family. He's not supposed to run off of his job every time his daughter's got a boo boo. He might would have wanted to be at the hospital if you were dying and he knew that you were dying. Had you been rushed in from a plane crash or a burning building or a car accident, probably would have been at that hospital. But you're sick, stomach ache, feverish. He's thinking it might be the flu. Not that serious for him to clock out off a job. You got to come from his perspective. The doctors told you after the surgery was over, after you had gone into recovery, after everything was over, how close you came to dying. You have never been sick before, so nobody paid attention to anything. And the problem is that the only thing you really wanted was your daddy to come give you a hug. That's the real problem. You salty because your daddy didn't come hug you when you was in the hospital. Only thing I can tell you is you need to stop. Go hug your daddy, since that's what you wanted to begin with. Stop being bitter at the fact that he wasn't at the hospital because you have to understand that nobody led him to believe that you were critical, that you might not make it to the next day. And you are, in fact, fine. So you're blowing the situation out of proportion, ultimately, because you want your father's attention. Be honest. Call your dad. Don't text him, call him. Tell him you want to meet him in person. Don't have this conversation over the phone. Sit with him and explain to him how you want to spend more time with your daddy, and he needs to make time out of his work schedule to be available for you. Period. And every day that he makes time for you, you do the best you can to enjoy that time. That's it. That's it. Because you grown, you 22. So the last 22 years of your life, what he did this day is the same thing he done did every other day that you was hurt, sick, fell off the monkey bars, knocked your teeth out, whatever happened, same thing. Took his ass to work, made the money, came back and paid for your standard of living. Y'all gotta understand. Men are expected to be breadwinners, and that's all men do is put their life on the line for your safety, put their freedom on the line for your safety, and work themselves into the early graves so that you don't have to try hard. And why do you believe that it is good every time you panic that he is supposed to take off from work so that he can run over there and come and look you in the face to false alarm, make you feel better? Man gonna lose his job, then he ain't gonna have no money, then he can't take care of you, then you're gonna say he worthless. But if he was always there every time you had a surgery, every time you had a complication, every time you had a concern, you would be sitting over there looking like, you need to be at work, Dad. We need money. So there is no win-win for a man, especially in that situation. But I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're not dead, I'll see you when you get out of the hospital. I'm not checking out of work. Why? When I get off, I'll come see you. But he was out of town on business, so we're not even in the same state. Let me let me know how it goes, and when I get back, I'll either come and see you at the house or I'll come see you at the funeral. One way or another, I'll come see. But for me to hop a plane for a false alarm, no, that's too much money. No. And I know some people are gonna say, "Oh, he's insensitive. He's insensitive." No, I'm gonna tell you straight up. If I'm conscious, ain't nobody calling y'all to let y'all know that something happened to me. If I'm unconscious in ICU, I can't stop them from calling somebody to make sure that there is a power of attorney there to sign off on my life-threatening surgery before I die. But if I'm conscious, you wouldn't even know I was in the hospital. Nobody is going to get told that I am in the hospital. I actually do not have emergency contacts listed. I don't have emergency contacts listed because bill collectors use your emergency contact as a second form of contact to collect the debt. I don't have any emergency contacts. So if I'm in an emergency, if I don't call you, no one will. If my phone isn't unlocked and the first five phone numbers in the favorites list isn't getting rung up, no one will know. I will just come up missing and stop answering my phone. I ain't never answered my phone to begin with. But I'm not even responding to text messages no more. And you will come to find out down the line from a third person that I had died. So rushing to my bedside is not gonna happen. And as a result, you're gonna get what I give. I don't expect you to come rushing to the hospital when I'm in there, so you know I'm not gonna rush to the hospital when you in there. Deal with it. All right, let's move on to the next one. Oop.
My partner has barely spoken to me since I refused to call in sick on Friday, September 19th. Together 1 year, Living together 6 months. How do I handle this silence without undermining my boundaries? I work as clerical staff. I handle scheduling, filing, keeping records straight, and making sure deadlines don't slip. If I don't show up, someone else has to pick up the slack, and people in my office have actually been written up for attendance issues. On Friday, September 19th, my partner who's 45 asked me to call in sick so we could spend the day together. The previous day 18th was actually my 40th birthday cake. I told him I couldn't. Fridays are one of our busiest days, and I can't risk my job. Instead of understanding, he got upset. I've been doing this work for nearly 20 years. It may not impress him, but it pays the bills and gives me stability. The fight escalated. He accused me of always putting work before him, and I snapped back that I'm tired of him acting like he's entitled to my time while dismissing what I do. He said I make him feel like a backup plan. This isn't the first big fight we've had. This month, we argued about money. We used to split everything 50-50, and he covered for three months because I was not paid, and when I finally got paid I decided to pay off debts first. I asked for some flexibility until I was caught up. Instead of working with me, he called me irresponsible and said I drag him down. We moved past it at the time, but I think that resentment is still there. Since the 19th, he's been distant. Barely talking to me, avoiding being in the same room, no affection. I've tried twice to open the conversation, but both times he shut it down with, "I don't want to talk about this right now." It's been 11 days of silence. I don't know what to do. Part of me feels like I should apologize just to break the ice. But another part of me feels like if I do, I'm teaching him that it's okay to belittle my job and stonewall me until I give in. I don't want to lose him, but I also don't want to keep living like this.
Okay. Um, you have a relationship that clearly has not been around as long as your occupation. And your occupation after 20 years should have enough respect for you to give you time off on your fucking birthday. So you should have enough respect for your man who wants to celebrate your birthday with you, who wants to honor, respect, and appreciate you, to schedule off in advance this day so that he can do something with you. I do not condone his behavior with stonewalling. I do not condone his behavior with shutting you out. But if he has been trying to communicate this with you for a long period of time and he has made it clear to you that he feels like a second afterthought, that he does not feel like a priority in a relationship, that your job comes before the relationship, and you have not taken that under consideration, then you fucking up. So the fact is that you're in a position right now where your partner is remotely giving up. He's backing off, pulling away because you have prioritized yourself, not the family, not the relationship. Now the other thing is that you've got the whole point where you said like 33 months where you had 3 or 4 months or so, something like that, where y'all you wasn't getting paid. There was a decent period of time where y'all wasn't getting paid. He was paying for everything, and you wasn't paying for nothing. And he carried your weight. Then you started getting paid again, and you started catching up on back bills. At some point, instead of you focusing on yourself in this relationship, you should be finding a way to focus on both of y'all together or focus on him. It's not just about you. And then when you say that flexing on your quote unquote boundaries, putting up boundaries in your relationship is bad because you're going to push your partner away. So the question is exactly what boundaries are you folding on by apologizing for not being available for your man, your husband, to honor you and respect you and appreciate you and value you? uh, apologizing for how he feels because your actions led to his sadness. What is wrong with you apologizing for how he feels? Now, negotiations after the apology can prevent him from feeling this way because respect for your job doesn't mean that, like you said, you can't just call off whenever he asks you to. However, you can negotiate with him. If you want to do something with me, we can schedule it either on my day off, or if I have to change schedules with someone else or something to that effect, I need to know 2 to 3 weeks in advance so that I can work it out with my job to have that day off. That's not going to help with surprises if he wants to do a surprise something or other. But if you know that your man is going to try to do a surprise event for you on your birthday, on Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, stuff to that effect, if you know that those are the types of days, Valentine's Day, where you just know that he's going to do something, you don't know what it is, but you know he's going to do something, you might want to take 2 days off in a row and say, hey, these 2 days, I'm not coming in, and request that 3 months in advance. Now, he got plenty of time to honor, respect, and appreciate you because you ain't supposed to be at work no way. But for you to say, I've been working on this job for 20 years and I'm gonna keep working on this job. This job sustains me. It validates me. It's my identity. Sweetheart, that job is not gonna close if you don't show up for it. Yes, coming in for work late all the time will get you written up. Leaving for work early all the time will get you written up. Calling off 3 to 4 times a month will get you written up. But one sick day, one I got the flu day, one I came down with some unexpected diarrhea and I'm not going to be able to hold it down today, is not going to, after 20 years of dedication on the job, man, one day is not gonna mess up your reputation with your company, especially if you've never missed a day for work, you've never taken off, you've never had an unexpected sick day, you've never utilized your vacation pay, you just always been there. It ain't gonna hurt you to take one day off. Now, one thing I can say though in your defense is some people, men and women alike, have careers where that career is not a job, it's a way of life. Police officers, SWAT, military agents, doctors, lawyers, nurses, every moment of their day is their job. They even at the house looking at the TV, watching the news of all things, so that they can see if they can go back to work sooner to get promoted in the job. You would have to be dedicated to the job so much they call it being married to the job. That happens when you put more effort into your workplace than you do your relationship. And the people that are married to that those types of careers, those lifestyle careers, always feel like they're on the back burner. But they have to find a way to navigate that because the standard of living that you live is from that type of career. But there is supposed to be some compromise. There is going to be those days where you have blackout days where you are just not going to work. You can't do double overtime for 20 years. It doesn't work for your relationship. All right, let's move on to the next one.
I left my husband. Now he's been hospitalized. If you look at my post history, you see that I left my husband for several reasons. I left over the weekend. He doesn't seem to understand what's going on. Saturday, he asked when I was coming home. I told him that I meant what I said. Sunday, he went to the yard due to vomiting. Today, his mom reached out and said he's been admitted due to fever and vomiting, and they are running more tests. I feel awful. I would never want him to be sick. I would never want anything to happen to him. I just wanted to separate. I feel super guilty.
I will say previous to leaving, frequent ER trips were an issue. Nothing was ever wrong, and only his mom would accompany him. The girls are super happy being at my parents' and have not asked about going home. My oldest only has asked about Dad once. I want to thank everyone who commented and messaged. Today is hard and I am struggling with guilt. This doesn't make me want to go back. Just hate the whole situation. Has anyone been through something similar?
Most of us have. When you love someone, but you can't stay with them for whatever reason, you leave. And because y'all are still in contact with one another, especially since y'all have children together, y'all don't really have bad blood, but you don't feel happy in your relationship. You don't want anything bad to happen to them, but something bad happened to them. That is not a reason to go back. So there isn't a reason for you to feel guilty. From what you tell me, uh, even when y'all were in a relationship, only his mom would accompany him to the hospital about whatever was going on with him. Uh, and as a result, at the end of the day, y'all broke up. Only his mom is going to accompany him to the hospital. Now, apparently, mom's calling you because you're the mother of the children. Uh, like you gonna go down into the hospital and go sit with him. That's not the moment to reconcile because y'all separated. You don't want to be with him no more. You might change your mind, but until you do, y'all need some time apart. Y'all need some quiet time apart. Y'all need to like no contact. So if he's sick, as long as he ain't dead, it is what it is. The kids don't really know what's going on because most adults don't tell the children nothing. They come on, let's go. It's all they hear. Do as I say, come on, let's go. But the truth is that if the kids knew that dad was sick and dad might not survive it, then the kids be wanting to go see what's going on with dad. Out of sight, out of mind usually is what happens. So because dad's in the hospital, dad's not doing well, you can check up on him frequently, make sure that he's okay. But that does not mean that you get back with him. He asked you when you was coming home, you not coming home. You staying with your mom and them, and you gonna move on with your life. He'll understand what's going on when you serve him the divorce papers, but that nothing about his poor health is supposed to have you trapped in something that you're not happy with. So there's nothing else that you're supposed to do besides continue doing what you're doing. So the only guilt that I could see that you would be entitled to having, because I mean, yeah, it's your feelings, and I shouldn't judge your feelings, but if you guilty, then you might have not have left for an admirable reason, and if you didn't leave for an admirable reason, then that would be a reason for you to take your ass back over there. If you being petty and bitter about something that y'all could have worked out, and he's leaving the door open for you to come back and work it out, then work it out. But still, you would work it out after y'all separated. Y'all had y'all a little bit of space. You can clear your mind, meditate a little bit, and get your emotions in check before you go back and communicate with him and try to fix it. But under no circumstances are you supposed to be being manipulated into staying in a relationship that you're not happy with. So you have to decide yourself, I'm gonna make this work with my children's father and see if y'all can compromise. Otherwise, just stay single. Not single, separated. Stay separated. Because it is better for y'all to get along in front of the children and not live in the same house than it is for y'all to live in the same house and fight with one another all the time in front of the children. Okay. So the children should not be growing up in an environment where the adults are fighting all the time. So if you can keep that from happening and y'all got to do live in two separate houses to make that happen, live in separate houses. Y'all don't got to get a divorce. Y'all can love each other from a distance. You know what I mean? But figure that part out. All right, let's move on.
My 23-year-old boyfriend is looking to break up with me at 23 right after finishing his cancer treatment. Me and my boyfriend M23 have been together coming up on almost 5 years now. We have had lots of ups and downs together. Going through long distance, growing up together, him having substance issues, and most recently this year he had stage 4B Hodgkin's lymphoma. He underwent 12 intensive rounds of ABVD chemo and nivo and just finished treatment, final scan pending. We have always had a loving relationship despite ups and downs. He told me tonight out of the blue that he thinks we need to break up because he is unwilling to live in my part of the country once he's cleared from cancer, has feelings for a girl who has cancer who he has been talking with online, and that ultimately wants to see if there might be better out there. But also that this might be chemo brain and changes by the day. I feel like my whole world is crashing and burning. I gave the last 5 years of my life to this person, all my love, energy and attention, especially the last 6 months with the cancer. I feel like I'm being discarded along with the end of the cancer treatment. How do I cope? How can I move forward? Do I accept as just chemo brain? Looking for any support at all.
I don't even know what chemo brain is, but what I can tell you is that some people who are going through a very long medical process that doesn't look like it's ever going to end in their favor, where they might actually die during the long-winded process, goes through levels of depression where they might decide that you would be better off without them because you're not sick for the rest of your life, you're not on your deathbed, and they might find themselves uh, finding comfort with somebody that's also dying right alongside them. Uh, I can't say that there's logic and ration to it, but what I can say is that um, if he is going through some stages of depression because of his chemo, and you listen to what he's saying and you walk away, then you're not necessarily going to be the support that he needs. Um, if you care about him genuinely, you can be the support that he needs throughout um, his therapy, his chemotherapy. And then once he has recovered or at least been released from the hospital where he no longer requires extensive medical observation, whatever he decides to do, he does. Um, Sometimes the worst parts of the medical treatment, they will say things that they should not have said. They meant it in the moment that they said it, but they're glad you didn't take action on that after the situation passed because they were in a lot of pain. They were extremely depressed and, they were going through the motions. But at the end of the day, you have to make the conscious choice to take into consideration what they said. But if your heart is still with them, be the support that they need until they no longer need your support. For better or for worse, includes parts like this, where your partner's on an emotional roller coaster. They're putting you through an emotional roller coaster, and there isn't a right way to cope with that. The hardest part about it is recognizing that uh, if he survives his medical treatment, he's probably not going to be there much after that. But then the other part about that is that what if he doesn't survive his medical treatment? Again, how do you cope? How do you cope? Do you just move on to the next day? Do you just pretend like he never existed, or do you like stay in your bed and wallow in self pity for 3 to 6 months because he's not here anymore? You put up 5 years. He's in chemo. If he does not have 5 years left, what are you going to do with the rest of your life after he dies? He's over here talking about breaking up with you so that you're not with him when he dies. But what if y'all stay together and he died? Then what do you do? You still invested 5 years with him. You've been through the worst parts of his bad decisions. What's the difference? Um, should you ride that wave until it's over? If you know that he's going to potentially slide after the chemo is over, then you can emotionally prepare yourself for the fact that he's going to leave. Um, some people might say, "Nah, fuck that, just go now." But if you're aware that he is considering moving on after the treatment is over, then you can start emotionally preparing yourself for that potential outcome. That should not require you to distance yourself from him or not be supportive at all. You can replace your romantic feelings for a platonic concern of genuine family style love and be there for him. And if he walks, he walks. If he doesn't walk, you're good. But it should not be contingent to uh what you want to see happen in this situation because he's the one on his deathbed. You can walk away whenever you want to. He can only go wherever his doctors say go. And if the long distance relationship is a problem and you're not willing to move to his side of the country, him finding somebody that's closer to him that he has access to, especially with the limited time he has left, might be the best thing for him. So you might want to consider that as well. So weigh all of your options and then, discuss it with him, probably when he's not in the most pain possible. And, once he gets to the final decision, y'all go ahead and y'all take action on that. So let's touch base. I believe we got one more.
Just got rejected at the gym. I approached this girl in the gym who I have been exchanging eye contact with for a few days. I asked her name and if she was single. She said that she was single. So, I asked if I could get her number. She said no. I simply nodded and walked away without saying anything. Did I do well by walking away, or should I have asked her why she said no?
No, fuck that shit. She said no. No means no. Hashtag me too moment and just walk away. At the end of the day, that should be every rejection that a man gets. I wish more women were respectful like that. Don't lie to me and tell me that you got a boyfriend because you're not interested. You're single, but you're not interested. Be legit. Be straight up. If I want to get your number to call you, talk to you, something like that, you don't want to give me your number. I'm supposed to respect that and walk away. I'm not supposed to ask you why and, oh, what if I do this and what if I do that and negotiate the situation. No, no. If you are not interested in, because you got to remember, y'all are at the gym and y'all are making eye contact, but y'all are making eye contact because y'all are using gym equipment across from each other. So, really, realistically, we have this habit as humans to people watch people that pass us by. Um, if your physique and her physique is appealing to one another, y'all might look at each other's form when you're watching each other use the machines to make sure that you're doing it right. Because if you're looking at somebody else do it, you can verify that you were doing it right when you were using that machine. If they have the definition that you were looking for, you might be trying to see how they work out so that you can mimic that so that you can get that definition. Y'all don't necessarily have to be looking at each other in the gym because y'all have physical attraction for one another. Could just be mild admiration or just like you don't know what else to look at because you know you're in a room full of people that are working out and anything that moves can catch your attention. Mr. Satellite, special shout out to Mr. Satellite. I got something for you, man. It's been a while since he did popped up. I do this every time. I did this to make you sick by now. It did it for the 9x16. Either way, though, celebrating Mr. Satellite. Was it because you just got your phone back? Because what you been doing? You used to be on every day. You ran the Goldberg streak until you got pinned by The Rock. But it's good to see that you keep coming back, though. It's good to see you again. And you came in right at the last moment. So I'm glad that you was able to drop in on our way out. I really appreciate that. So one more time, special shout out to Business Satellite version 2. So what I was saying, y'all, um, some people like we have this habit of people watching. So if you go up and you start talking to a person, whether it's a male or female, and you want to get to know them better, me myself, I recommend offering them my number. Why? because this is a cold call communication. You weren't interested in me. I was interested in you. If I ask you for your number, that puts the ball back in my court to reach out to you a second time after I've reached out to you the first time to get your number. Instead of me reaching out to you a second time, since I made the first approach to communicate with you, then I would explain to you that I have found interest. Something about you caught my attention. I'd like to get to know you a little bit better outside of the gym. I was hoping I could give you my number, and then when you have time, we can schedule something together. If she's interested in you, she will not only take your number, but send you a text or something like that so that you also have her number. And then y'all should be able to text one another within the first 24 hours of that exchange. Now, if none of that go down, it wasn't meant to be. So I am proud of her for not disrespecting and devaluing you, making a scene in the gym, or filing a complaint with gym management because you asked her for her contact information. And I'm proud of you because you didn't press the issue to get her phone number, which would have given her a reason to file a complaint with the gym management. Because you have to understand, in society, a woman can be overbearing to a man and it is socially acceptable. This chick's got the hots for you, bro. Go for it. But flip the script, and that exact same overbearing behavior, the guy is a creep. Restraining orders, calling the police, canceling his membership, trespassing him off the property for harassing the clients. It's not the same. So the way y'all did it, that should be every encounter between men and women. Every encounter. Tell them the truth. You're single or you're not. Be honest. You're interested or you're not. And from those two observations, the guy that's doing the approach, he gets either a yes or a no, and that's it, and walk off. It actually hurts less when that happens. The sting hurts less. The rejection still hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much because we had a casual, genuine conversation between the two of us. You were honest the whole way through. You didn't make a scene. You didn't try to blow it out of proportion. You didn't try to embarrass the man. So he can be in the same gym with you again tomorrow, next week, or whatever. Try not to pay as much attention to you, and it don't have to be weird. But if you make a scene in the gym, it's going to be weird with him and everybody else who was working out that day when you made the scene. But I tell people on a regular basis, don't make a pass at the people that you work out with at the gym. Go somewhere else and find somebody. You could go to a different gym as a guest and pick up people at the guest gym, but not your primary gym. Not your primary gym. That's not good for you because if your relationship goes south, one of y'all got to quit that gym. You should, I say on a regular basis, do not damage your stomping grounds. You know that old saying, don't shit where you eat. Don't bury too many dogs in the same backyard, or don't bury too many bones in the same backyard. Do not compromise your favorite places in life by throwing a relationship into that location because then you have to change locations. Keep your single life atmosphere as your single life routine. When you get into a relationship, that relationship should not be intertwined with your single life routine. That way, nothing happens. If you got a gym membership, keep that gym membership. If she break up with you, she's not coming to your gym. If you eat at a certain restaurant every day, that's your restaurant. If she break up with you, you still at that restaurant. If you got a local watering hole, or a bar or a club that you go to, that's your spot to hang out at. She break up with you, that's still gonna be your spot. But if you pick her up from that location, that's your spot and her spot too. So the problem is that if she come through there with her new boyfriend, you're gonna feel some kind of way. And now you're not gonna want to go to your spot. Now you're gonna want to wallow with pity in your own house. And that's not what you need to do. So do not saturate your personal spot, your favorite locations that you frequent with your relationship. Keep it separate. Get relationship locations that are separate from your single guy locations so that when your relationship fall apart, your single guy locations are still accessible to you. It is what it is. Now, since we had a short week, I really appreciate all the guys that dropped in. Rooterist for showing up, Mr. Satellite. I know Michael was lingering in the background. I really appreciate you guys for coming. Steven, who's listening on Twitter X, and Danny Stefan that's listening to us on Twitch. I really appreciate you guys for coming to the show. I'm gonna say now, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm gonna keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, I give y'all guys advice to help you guys become higher value men because if you make better decisions in your personal life, it will improve your business life. And if you are making better financial decisions in your business life, it will improve your personal life. So I encourage you to make the changes that you need to make that will prevent you from having the dissatisfaction in your life. Because if you change the things inside of your control, then you will be happier in your life and then navigate around things that you can't control. But you have to prioritize your own happiness. You also have to recognize that you have to be a partner in your relationships. Once you start putting forth the effort to positively impact the things that benefit you and your success and the success of your relationships, whatever you want to carry with you into your future, that is when you're going to start seeing positive change. So it is up to you. Now, ladies, I put this stuff out there for the fellas, but it's not just for the fellas. As we are a 62% male driven podcast from the male's perspective, I give you ladies the same information. Y'all can take this information and make yourselves higher value women. But you also still have a first person accountability and responsibility to change the things in your life that you are not satisfied with. Work it out with your partner, communicate with your boyfriend and your husband so that they know what your discontent is. It's not just him, it's what you're not getting out of the relationship, it's what you're not feeling from the relationship. And y'all need to work together. It ain't just on him to fix it. Y'all need to work together to make this work for y'all. Okay? And you should put an extensive period of time and effort into fixing whatever it is that you believe is broken before you bail out on it. Okay. And really and truly, ladies, I believe that y'all should really be invested in these relationships because with no investment in a relationship, y'all have no reason to stay. And as soon as the sun is not yellow, y'all are willing to walk out. You're not trying to figure out why it went down that way. Y'all are willing to walk out. Soon as the moon don't rise, you're willing to throw in a towel and disappear. Every month, the guy is putting all this effort into begging you to stay, begging you to stay. If y'all put effort into y'all relationships and y'all invest in y'all relationships, the stuff that y'all buy in the relationship, the things that y'all sacrifice for y'all relationship, y'all will find yourselves in a position to have more to lose. If you had more to lose, you wouldn't be running away from these things so easily. But because not even having the responsibility of staying committed to the partner, y'all got no reason to be here, and that's one of the reasons why things don't go the way they're supposed to go for you. But like Michael said, make sure y'all remember to like and subscribe. I told y'all he was here. He always here. So I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. I'm your host Xander, and before I walk out, I want to tell you, um, start putting your money towards the global net lease stock because on Friday it is gonna wrap itself up. So we're gonna be selling that global net lease stock on Friday the 10th. We're gonna be getting our ex dividends on Friday the 10th. So make sure that you make the changes and the shifts that you need to change in your stock portfolio so that you can do the dividend rotation strategy with us. Beyond that, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night when we're dealing with all of the politics that just happened, and we're going to be going through all of that stuff tomorrow, and y'all are going to be excited about that. So make sure that you see it. He said his penis is broken. You need to help fix it. I got a fever. You need to take my temperature down. Look, you already know, bro. You already know. I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. I'm your host Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow night. See you tomorrow, Miss
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.